You're listening to The Low and No Show, a podcast that tells the inspiring stories from brands and the founders. My name is Johnny Stevens, the founder of Better Without, the app that helps people discover low and no drinks. I'm sitting down with guests to hear their stories, learn about their products, and the lessons they've learned. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Low and No Show. I'm here today with David O'Brien. David is from Stillers. Now, Stillers is a non-alcoholic spirit. So, hello, David.
Hello, Johnny.
How are we doing? I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. And thank you for welcoming me to your podcast show this morning.
That's quite all right. So, yeah, it would be good to hear more about you, the brand, and then we'll come on to the products in a minute. But yeah, just a bit more about you and your background and how Stillers came about.
Okay, well, I'm the master distiller of Stillers. I am a biochemist. I've got about 20 plus years experience of distilling medicinal plants for the therapeutic benefits, and I've been working in botanicals, for like probably 30 years, made a variety of different extracts for so many different applications. And about 5 years ago, when the product Seed was launched, which launched a low alcohol, non-alcoholic spirits category, quite a few different products have come out since then. I saw a gap in the market for a product which was purely distilled, with no added flavors, and importantly, with no alcohol used at any stage of the process. And I've got quite a lot of experience with distillation, been built up over a number of years, and equipment which I've held on to. And I said, I'm going to go about making a product, which is true to the values which I believe in, about green label and pure, and no added flavors, and importantly, no alcohol. So I spent about 2.5 years developing two formulas. In August 2019, we launched the products at the Virgin Mary Bar in Dublin, which is Europe's first dry cocktail bar. I was looking around just to see, where we could launch the products, and in Dublin, of all places, I found a dry bar, and we just went in the door with the products and asked the bar manager there, who's an award-winning bartender, Anna Walsh, to taste the products, and she said, "When can we have them?" And we said, okay. We weren't expecting that straight away, so we had to rush back to the UK and develop our brand. Now, on the back of that, we set up the world's first alcohol-free distillery, Old Coach House Distillery, which is based in Monmouth. And it's based in the former coach house, which has got a lot of character to it. And the products we make are basically I've developed a unique process where I can extract the same flavor intensity from the botanicals as if you were using alcohol. I don't use alcohol at any stage of the process. I push the boundaries with the technology to get the flavor profile out, and without compromising on taste. And I don't add any flavors in either, or colors, sweeteners, or sugar. And use organic herbs and spices exclusively. Now, there's a second angle to this as well, and we're developing a travel diary associated with our products. So each product captures cultures and botanicals from different regions of the world. Like the first product, Celtic Mist, I'm from Ireland, so Celtic Mist is inspired by the Celtic nations and the herbs which have been traditionally used by those peoples and those lands over the centuries, and for a variety of different reasons. And Silk Roots is inspired by the Silk Road trading route from China into the West, and that went through India. My wife's from India, and we were keen to include spices in particular, which are endemic to India, and they were traditionally traded along the Silk Road from India into Europe. So Silk Roots is very spicy, very spicy, sort of warm aromatic blend, whereas Celtic Mist is more herbal based and more like a traditional gin. And the name Stillers, the brand Stillers, is a take on the process of distillation, because all our products are produced by traditional copper distillation, using an alembic still. If you can imagine, like you've got a pot, you got the swan neck, and then you have your condenser. Like when you look at the traditional still, that's how we make our product, with a bit of magic, of course.
Yeah.
And it also refers to being in a stillness state of mind, empowering you to about how to live mindfully. So we're homing in on the mindfulness of all of this, because this is a completely alcohol-free product. It happens not to contain alcohol. It's a sophisticated grown-up alternative, to someone, if you just want to go out and have a nice drink, but you don't be worried about having alcohol, and you just don't want to have alcohol for whatever reason. So yeah, I mean, that's what the Stiller's brand is about. And since August 2019, we picked up a number of distributors in London to get the product out there, and we now in Australia,
Oh, wow.
and we're getting some traction, in the initial accounts in the UK. Picked up a couple of distributors in Wales as well, to cover the whole of the Welsh independents, like the shops and that, like network and so on. And things looking good, and we're sort of really sort of trying to push our social media and really learning about it as well, like, because it's been a bit steep learning curve for me, with the social media side of things. It's all about that these days.
Well, it is, and it's a real hard one to crack, and actually I think more so in the last 18 months, where pre-pandemic, if you were launching a product, you could go to a railway station and go and get people to try your product, or you could literally go in into supermarkets or whatever and be doing taster days, but we can't. And it's so that whole interaction is gone, and social media is so prevalent, but also I think it used to be something like you've got like 7-8 seconds of someone's time, maybe even less. On social media, I don't think you even have that. It's so quick, and people do just scroll past so easily. And it's, I'm sure you've seen, the category has exploded. There is just such good interaction from people who are not drinking, whether that's for they've given up completely, or for people who are just deciding not to drink that evening or whatever. And that's for me, it's really quite fascinating to delve deep in terms of usually why people drink. And so much of it is about enjoying the drink and the taste and flavors, and that's for me so important. And it's funny because we put so much emphasis into if we go out for a nice meal and everything, and then if there is so much emphasis right now in restaurants on alcohol, and what whether it's a pairing wine or whether it's all that stuff, and it's getting a lot better, but the options available have been lagging, but actually there's so much choice out there now that hospitality can't ignore it.
Yeah, it's a really it's here to stay. It's not just a blip or just a one-off event. It's a growing movement, and it feeds into the whole mindful living movement about wellness and healthy food and exercise and all of that. And I mean, the products, they're 100% distillers, and and what inspired me, like with the two products like Celtic Mist and Silk Root, I'm referring to gin a lot of the time. They're gin inspired, but you think back to gin, like to the origins of it, like it's a medicinal tonic. Back in millennia ago, we just alcohol and we extract herbs with them. We use that for a variety of different ailments. Botanicals were present in gin, are actually in there. It's no accident that they're in there. Actually have health benefits. They aid digestion, and they release griping pains in the tummy, like in bloating and all of that, and gas. And they also provide great flavor. And it's a marriage of those two, like health benefits as well as the flavor in distillers, and we're bringing all these health benefits to consumer without the alcohol.
Yeah.
And it's really, so it's a fascinating story about how these drinks evolved, like from just making someone, centuries ago, just grinding up some herbs, and adding a bit of alcohol to it, or steeping in a bit of alcohol, like monks in the 11th century in Italy, like steeped juniper berries in wine. And that's the sort of the one of the earliest references to gin, like, juniper and then alcohol, like, and they use that as a tonic, like, which is a very general term, like medicinal term, but like just to make it feel better and all of that. And it evolved into gin now,
It's mad. And that I mean, gin has had such a boom, has had such a boom. And I think it's quite funny when I think of, like, there's obviously a lot of non-alcoholic spirits out there, of all varieties, and but obviously a lot with sort of juniper and the great thing is they all taste so different, but that's no different to gin, and I think that's my local pub has, I think, 104 different gins. Not everyone's going to like every single gin. That is just the way it is. That's it's different flavors, different profiles, and I think that's what's great, with all the options out there, is that actually there will be ones people like and people actually prefer others.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with me is, I mean, with gin, like, I mean, I was never a great fan of spirits, like, I mean, because I felt it was too strong in the alcohol. I couldn't get the taste of botanicals, the alcohol took over.
Yeah.
Whereas with these products, you can just roll the flavors around in your mouth and enjoy them, like, for what they really are, like. Yeah, I mean, it's great, like, and I mean, there is so many different products out there, and across, like, the spirits category, as well as the beers and the wines, or traction and all that, like, and then we have the aperitifs, so it's really growing, and it's really, it's showing a lot of promise for the future as well.
Yeah.
With this category, it's pretty amazing.
I think worldwide it absolutely is. And was there a reason that you decided to go down the non-alcoholic route? Like, was there something that actually you felt that was, you obviously talk about not necessarily enjoying spirits before, when they had alcohol, because you couldn't taste the flavors. Was there a specific reason that you're like, actually, I want to create something that's non-alcoholic?
Yeah, I mean, well, I've never been. I never really drunk much, really. I mean, and any spirits, no. I mean, but I wanted to do something different, and I could see a gap in the market. I knew I had the expertise technically, to develop something, and I just wanted to do something different, and create something really bespoke, like, and really different than anything else out there. And the vast majority of products out there, like, they'll either use alcohol, like, for the preliminary extraction and then strip it out afterwards, but you cannot remove all the alcohol. There's always that 5%, or they add in flavors which are carried in alcohol, because the best flavor prep you buy from a flavor house are carried on alcohol, and adds alcohol in. And I just wanted something completely pure, like, and and I believed it was possible, because I mean, I'd been working for so long, like, with installation and that, it was just a matter of really putting the thinking cap on, like, and the blends right and all that, and the story right and everything. And really, I mean, very traditional, the whole craft nature of the process, really appeals to me. I mean, picture me out in the fields collecting botanicals, like, with a straw hat and coming home.
Love it.
Throwing them into the still and in a way, like, I'm creating my potions, is really, really what I'm about. Like, I mean, I'm a botanist. I mean, my bachelor's is in botany, so I started in the third year of my bachelor's degree. I went a couple of courses in plant biotechnology, and that's when I realized I wanted to move into the natural side of things, the natural product side of things. And I did a master's in biochemistry and a PhD in phytochemistry as well, looking at medicinal plants and extracting the components responsible for the activity and testing them against a variety of different things like bacteria, fungi, antioxidant activity, anti-inflammatory activity, all that sort of thing. And that really got me thinking about the power of plants, and flavors, the potent, like, and what you can do, and really exploded from then, like, and and it all ended up married in distillers.
And how that process of creating I guess the final product, like how many revisions did that end up being? I
There
imagine
was
hundreds.
hundreds of iterations, I tell you. The very first one I made, you would just spit it out, really. It was just, it took a long time, to get it right. Yeah, it's all about getting the balance right, and and obviously, and the cuts and everything. It's just, it took a long time. I mean, it took me 2.5 years, to develop those formulas. Once I got the first formula, then it was easier for the second one. Yeah, a lot of time, but it was very enjoyable, and I'm used to that. Being a scientist, like, it's all trial and error, and if at first you don't succeed, try again, and you will eventually get there.
You sort of Thomas Edison style.
yeah, sure, yeah. So,
and obviously with the two products, have you got like ways that you would almost describe as the perfect pairs? Like, obviously you put loads of effort into creating these drinks, and I'm always very passionate about talking about actually the best way to serve them, because there's no point having this beautiful drink in the nicest possible way, putting it with a cheap tonic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I'll get through the two of them, like Celtic Mist, which is the herbal base. I mean, for me, that pairs very well with Fever Tree Mediterranean tonic, any of the Indian premium Indian tonics as well, and it also goes very well with the Sentiment grapefruit tonic.
Oh, nice.
And there's also an elderflower tonic, Fever Tree, and the clementine tonic. It goes really well. So, see, what you do is you pour 50 mils of the product into a highball full of ice, top up with tonic. I mean, I usually do 1 part of product, 4 parts of tonic, whatever the preference is, personal preferences, and garnish that with a slice of lemon and a sprig of fresh rosemary. It really accentuates the flavors in the product. That's the basic sort of distillers and tonic, or Celtic Mist and tonic. And then the silk roots, because it's more spicy and all of that. You can use, again, any of the Indian tonics, served in the same way, or Fentiman Valencian orange tonic. That's really good with it, because it's got a lot of citrus flavors in there, and that really brings it out. Like, it's like Christmas in the glass when you have it,
nice.
Valencian orange tonic. And there's also the Fever Tree aromatic Angostura bark tonic as well, which pairs perfectly with it. There's quite a few. There's Elixir's cinnamon and blood orange tonic as well. That's very low in calories. The Elixir, that goes very well with the silk roots. They go really well in cocktails as well. And if you have a look on our website, you can see some cocktails there, like Mindful Tom Collins, a banana beer,
nice,
a Singapore no sling, with a twist, all these, because it got such punchy, strong flavors. They hold their own. Like, you mix it with the favorite mixer or as a base in cocktails. So, I mean, the silk roots, because that's so festive. I mean, you just add a bit of it. You'll get that nice cardamom-y, clovey, cinnamony notes coming through, so it goes really well. Ice is essential, for them. It's really, I mean, you can try them neat. I mean, they're not designed to be drunk neat.
No,
because they're so strong, the flavors. I mean, it's like taking gin neat. It sort of throws you back a bit. So flavors, and really, when you dilute them down, the flavors really come to life. And but the important thing is to hold their own in the tonics or the mixers. A lot of products out there where once you add tonic into it, it just dilutes it, and you just can't taste anything. It just tastes like lemonade or just like tonic. But we developed our product specifically addressing that, need in mind. It would be punchy, would hold its own flavor, and we used the Fever Tree range of tonics to develop the product as well. We knew when we had a product, it would work. And that's the result.
It's amazing, and that it's one of those things, isn't it? You when you're creating that product. I mean, something like beer, obviously they straight away, once they brewed the beer, they can try it. With something like, as you're saying, with your spirit, not only have you got to produce it, but then you've got to go, right, actually, what does it taste with all different tonics to, you know, actually, does it hold its own in terms of flavor?
Yeah.
You know, it is so important to have that. And, you know, when I think of, you know, genuinely in the alcohol world, you know, I do question sometimes whether people actually enjoy certain gin and tonics, or whether it's just almost that social, you know, I'm having a gin and tonic, and they, it's just, that's the drink they're drinking. But
I mean, I've had, you know, like customers, like, you know, at festivals, you know, coming up to me and actually thinking there's alcohol in it, you know, and then other customers coming up, and when they find out there's no alcohol, they'll say, "Oh, that's not for me." Like, so it's like alcohol thing, you know, it has to be there, like, you know, but you don't have to have alcohol. You enjoy yourself, you know. You just need a great tasting drink, you know, and brings occasion to the whole dimension to drinking, and with a product like this, which is handcrafted, it adds that sort of invisible ingredient, which, you know, that you're making, tasting something which is made with a lot of due attention and care, and it's, you know, it's got a big story behind it, you know, and it really gives you that extra appeal, you know. And
well, it is, it's fascinating. And I think, you know, the drinks have such a, I was talking last night to someone. We were talking about, you know, being, you know, how you enjoy a drink can be affected by your mood, by the food you're drinking, you know, all this stuff as well, that actually, you know, one time you may try a drink and actually you've had a bad day, so naturally, you know, your mind is just not going to enjoy it. And as you say, it's just, or, you know, you haven't, you know, we're saying like yours, you know, finding the right tonic. You know, if you don't like grapefruit, there's no point in putting grapefruit in it, because you're never going to like it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it's about presentation. I mean, like the main drivers in the low to no sector being, you know, Asian, craft and serve, and flavor complexity. Because without the alcohol, you have to compensate with some way, and by adding multiple layers of flavor, you know, it is a way of doing it. Like, I mean, and when you've got the likes of Gordon and, you know, Tanqueray coming in now, you know, it's really, really good for the sector that's happening. Like, that King boys are really paying attention. Like, Seedlip acquired by Diageo and all that. Like, you know, Liars with all the 11 or 12 million dollars they has received in funding. Like, you know, it just shows you that it's here to stay.
It is here to stay, and I think it's it's here to stay. And you're right. I mean, I talk about this a lot. You know, that those players coming into the market is only a good thing, in terms of it helps, you know, they have the big budgets that they can spend on TV advertising, and making actually that sort of non-alcoholic options, you know, norm. And that is, you know, when we get to that point, actually people want to go and try different things. So, you know, I'm all with you. I think it, you know, it's a great thing. And it, you know, there is always going to be that push within, you know, restaurants. If something like Gordon's is already in a restaurant, actually they're Gordon Zero, but actually that's no reason why there can't be then Stillers next to it and all that. So it is just that growth of the category that is exploding, and you know, really nice community.
I suppose you've got the two types. I mean, if you want to segregate the spirit-like products, you got crafted products where we would sit in, and then you got the mimics like the Gordon and the Tanquerays, you know, like, you know. So yeah, so I mean, I feel like, you know, that the consumer needs to be educated a lot more about these products, and really what they're all about. Like, that will happen in time. I mean, I can see in, say in 20 years time, like, for instance, like, there'll probably be an institute, like, overseeing this, as a watchdog, like the industry and all of that, like you've got with spirits and all that. I think, yeah.
Oh, I think you're right. I think in the next 5 to 10 years, I think it's it's so big that it is. I think that the great thing is it's not just people who've decided completely to cut out alcohol. It is, people just going, I'm not going to drink in the week and I'm going to enjoy this during the week, or I'm driving, so I'll have one that's alcoholic and then I'll switch. And that's that, I think I've had these conversations with hospitality recently going, rather than losing out on that extra drink because someone's driving, actually they have a nice gin and tonic to start with and then they switch, and there's good profit in these drinks, if they market them right.
Yeah, and there's the whole thing about marrying them. I mean, because to them, because you can actually, I mean, you've done a few things where you've actually taken a standard gin and actually mixed it with Celtic Mist, and just additional flavors in, which that new thing, and you're diluting the alcohol, so you're making it more healthy for yourself, and you're getting the extra flavors in there, so it's a win-win situation. So there's multiple ways in which they can be used.
I think for me, when you get a really good mixologist who just takes a product, non-alcoholic product, and just wants to go and try different things and has this vision of like, what can I create with it? I'm really excited to sort of get back into bars and restaurants when we can more properly and see the creations that these mixologists are coming out with. You can see in main street restaurants now, like they are embracing it, and that's again some great options. And and the nice thing is it's trying it and seeing what they can.
Sure, I mean, we're working with a mixologist in Italy. His name is Max LaRocca, and he's he's well established in that. And the other day he made a cocktail with anchovies and the Celtic Mist. Wow. I said, "Ooh," and it looks very left field. You will call
that is very left field.
I can just see that work, and someone sitting at the bar, just having that, like having the anchovies, and the taste and everything, I could just see, really, really bold sort of, which is what you need to be, like, you need to be creative and all of that, like, to make with these types of products, like, and I can't wait to taste it, like,
God, that would be an interesting one. That will be a proper Marmite style drink.
Yeah.
Do you know what? If there's one thing you want for social media, maybe that's it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is you are very polarizing, these drinks. Like, I mean, you either like them or you don't like them. Like, it's one of those things. Like, but that's the way it is with a premium product. Like, it will polarize the consumer to a certain degree. Yeah. So
amazing. And it's been fascinating to talk about it and talk about that distillation and everything. And in terms of where people can find the products, where they can buy them, where best to find out more.
You can go on our website. That's www.distillers.co.uk, and also our distillery website, www.oldcoachhousedistillery.co.uk. Find our shop where you can purchase the products. Products are also available from the alcohol-free company in London and Arundel Drinks, as well as on Amazon. You can get them on Amazon as well. And we're also present in, although we're with quite a few local sort of establishments in and around Monmouth, like bars, restaurants, and with Blasserfoyd, who are one of the biggest distributors in Wales for Welsh products, like, and they cover the whole of the independent deli shop network in Wales. So, and
we'll put some links down below so people can go and find them. And I know that's for us, that's a big part of what we're doing at the moment, is sort of mapping out where people can go and try the drinks in hospitality and also local retail, supporting that local economy. So we'll make sure we have those too.
And then in the future, we're planning to move into the Middle East, and we're in advanced discussions with distributors in Dubai and Abu Dhabi to get the product in there. It's going through the registration process. So hopefully in a couple of months, we'll be on the shelves there. And,
that's exciting. That's a big growing market. It's I think that's a very exciting thing to happen. I definitely think, with the sort of what's going on here, Australia, America, I definitely think Dubai and the UAE is next.
Yeah, the US as well. I mean, we're looking at getting some support there. I mean, like the US is like 50 different countries really, so they've all got their own way of doing things, each state. Like, you know, so yeah, that's interesting.
It's never easy. It's never easy, and that's you know, I think it feels so easy now, being able to connect with people and have that conversation, and then to be able to go, right, we need to get a product over. That's a whole nother story. But it's look, I think there's some very exciting things to happen, and I think you mentioned earlier, you know, this is here to stay, and you know, that's what I always say to when I speak to producers. Look, you know, if you're not over there next week, this isn't going, you know, that's doesn't matter. You know, there's still going to be a market in a year's time, 2 years time. So it's that whole, you know, marathon, not a sprint, you know, scenario. So yeah, I think it's that there is some exciting stuff to happen.
Yeah, when you have the high street, you know, the supermarkets like Waitrose having dedicated areas, you know, drinks, you know, and others are following suit. You know, it's definitely recognize the category. Yeah,
it's here to stay, and as I say, I think the supermarkets do play a part in normalizing it. So it's very exciting. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for joining me, David. And we will get the podcast out, and we look forward to keeping in touch and hearing more.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much, David. Thank you now. Bye.